witches.
Hi, hello, and welcome back to another episode of Iron Flame.
It's so
Yeah?
Yep,
Okay.
that's how I
I love
felt
the
about it.
energy.
Part 3.
Yeah. Let me tell you, I had a really bad migraine on Saturday. I was still kind of getting over it yesterday. And today it's just been like teetering on that edge of like having a headache and not having a headache.
I had one of those weekends where like I had like a moderate amount of anxiety all weekend. Like I had a lot of fun things going on, so I was distracted and I was still having fun, still had a good weekend. But like I was anxious about work today, which it ended up going fine, so that's good. But I had that little bit of anxiety, so I was like, I'm not doing anything productive. So I read this today. So it's all very fresh in my mind.
I did mine yesterday.
Yeah.
I think I'm having some anxiety because I've picked all my nails. I've picked all the skin around my nails.
Oh.
And I've been biting at it.
Yeah, I do that when I'm anxious. But especially if I'm in a meeting that is making me anxious, but I didn't do it today.
Nice. It's not really making me anxious. It's not work. I don't know. I think it's just kind of like I'm so used to being anxious and being in that state of anxiety that
it's like your body doesn't know what to do without it. Like,
yeah. And so it's like learning to relax, and it's weird.
Yeah.
It's also, I think, because I had a migraine yesterday or like 2 days ago. It's okay, what did I do? Did I eat something? Did I drink something? Did I not drink something? Like, did I do this? Did I not take my meds in time? Did I like sleep too much? Did I not sleep enough? Like,
Yeah.
trying to go through all the possible triggers of what my doctor said it could be. And
Yeah. I wouldn't say that work is necessarily making me anxious. I would say that people are making me anxious. My job is great. It's not hard. I mean, there are hard parts. Like, there's hard decisions to be made and stuff, but it's the people more than anything. Like, the adults that don't know how to act like adults. But that's a whole other podcast. So, the point of that conversation was that I read this today. And I read it really quick, actually. It was fairly short, 6 chapters. Like, a couple of the chapters were really short.
It was like 50 pages.
So
I don't want to say it's rare, but I feel like for us, 6 chapters. I remember when we were planning this out, we were like, "Oh, can we do 6 chapters? Like, is that doable?" And then I'm sitting here like, "Oh, some of these are gonna suck, isn't it? Like, it's gonna be shitty."
and some of the episodes have definitely, like the first 2 have definitely been longer than typical, but that's okay because you can pause and come back.
Yeah, that's the beauty of
But
podcasts.
exactly.
But
And
anyway,
now we're on chapter 13.
So I literally just read this yesterday, and I'm fucking confused. Not confused.
Well, so the first thing that catches my attention is the little blurb. It says, though the chain of command may be consulted, the final say in any academic punishment or repercussion lies with the commandant's office, which right now is Varish, basically. And that's basically what this like first part of this chapter is about. Varish is punishing Violet because Andarna didn't show up for formation or whatever, flight class or something.
Yeah, because they're on their way back from visiting with Zane. Um, and um, so they're talking about the wards. They're like trying to discuss, like, hey, do you know how to do this? Do you know how to do this kind of thing? And then he's like, oh, we're being summoned over
Yep.
here. Yay.
And he basically just makes her continually use her signet power and call lightning.
Over, yeah, over and over again.
And I feel like he knows something about Andarna and he's trying to draw her out.
That, and I also feel like he has like an idea of what might have went down at um Resin. I feel like he's not necessarily like aware of what's happened there, although um wouldn't what's his face, not Melgren, is it Melgren, somebody has like the power to see what everyone's doing, but once they have the signet on them, like the marked ones, they can't see what they're doing if there's three or more in a group.
Right.
So
That's
like,
Malgren, I believe.
so wouldn't he see and know what Violet was doing?
At Resin?
Yeah.
No. Only because there were more than he can't see the battle outcome if there are more than three marked ones, and there were.
And together, I thought it was just like he could see everybody, but he couldn't see the marked one specifically.
I don't think
If there
so.
was, okay. So if there's more than three in a group and
Yeah,
he's
that he
seeing all
can't
the marked
see.
ones, that counts. Okay. That's
Yeah.
where I was like, of course they would know. Like,
Yeah, I don't think so.
well, regardless of that, I think he has like an idea of what might have happened and like what she's endured during that time.
Well, and there
Because
have to have been like the marked ones are just now, like Xaden is the oldest one. So they're just now getting into the regular forces. And you can't tell me that none of the regular forces have run into Venom. Like, no, that's not true.
yeah,
Like, so he has to know. Melgren has to know. And
and it's just
Varish has been on the front lines, so he almost has to know as well.
if not
But he's a
taught
complete
them.
fuckhead.
Yeah, yeah, he is.
He's super sick. Like, I really hope that Taryn eats him. Or Andarna. I'm not fussy. It could even be Sigale. I just want someone to eat him.
I just want somebody to eat Parrish. I don't really care who.
Yeah.
I want him to go away.
I don't care if it's Violet. Somebody just needs to eat him. I would prefer it if it were a dragon. But
Specifically Taryn, just because of we know that there's like a history of some sort behind
him
him
and the
and Varish's dragon. I think that would be so funny.
Solem or
Like
Solus.
Solus. It's like,
Solus.
oh, I took your one eyeball. All right, cool. I'm gonna take your rider now. Thanks.
Yeah.
And I think Carr, like I think Carr is okay to a certain extent with this punishment. I mean, obviously he can get a little bit of that studying on
Yeah.
all of it, but I think he's a little apprehensive on the full extent of what Varish is doing.
Yeah, because Varish is fucking nuts and he does not care
Mm-mm.
what happens. Like, he doesn't care. But also, I feel like so after this, Taryn takes her and like dips her in the river or whatever to cool her down because she's basically burning up from the inside.
And
Um,
Carr didn't even care. Like he's apprehensive
no.
about everything, but he's just like, "Oh, I would hate for you to like lose your life and then us lose all of these powerful people and dragons." And I'm like,
Yeah, he didn't care about her. He cared about her signet.
"Excuse me, like she's a person."
No, he doesn't give a shit. So Taryn takes her to the river, dips her in. He says, I've already called for support. And he takes her to the thing. It's Imogen, Bodhi, uh, Aya or Ia. I'm not really sure how to say it, but it's a bunch of marked ones. And I'm like, Violet, first of all, might as well already be a marked one. Like she might as well be one of them because she basically is.
Yeah.
Also, Aya keeps getting brought up, or Ia. I don't know. I think it's Aya. Maybe Aya? I don't know. Whatever. She keeps getting brought up, so I feel like she's gonna die soon.
Yeah.
Because that's
She
what
was
happened with Nadine.
well, and she was what is it? She was one of the marked ones that was there, right?
Yeah.
So
But we
they
didn't
all
know
look
her
like
name until more recently. And we didn't know Nadine's name until more recently. And then Nadine dies. And so, and
yeah.
then, well, we'll discuss that here in a minute. um,
uh
yeah. What did I, was it? Oh, and then they get her some food and she's fine. Basically, she's fine. Um, and then we find out that, nope, I'm getting ahead of myself. Now they're on the mats, right? No?
uh
Yeah, they're on the mat. Sloane is fighting. She's doing
yeah.
her first fight in the challenges.
Well,
Um,
she's struggling.
yeah, and she fucking sucks at it. But, Violet the Scribe is here and takes care of that. However, during this, she's having a conversation with. Wait, I'm ahead of myself again, aren't I?
Probably.
No, they're just talking about Sloane getting Sloane's fight. But Imogen is there and she's talking to Imogen and she's like, um, Brent or my brother's book, blah 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 blah. And she's like, who's because she's talking about who Sloane's going to be up against in the challenge. That's what it is. That's why I got ahead of myself. And she's like, who's she up against? She's like, you're not going to ask about the book that I shouldn't have. And Imogen goes, no, I, unlike some people, don't feel the need to know everything someone else deems private. And I was just like, oh,
Well,
oh,
dude. I mean, honestly, she's still right. Like,
yeah.
whatever.
But they're basically all talking about Sloane and like worried about Sloane and her fight and yada yada yada. And then they're walking to go to their physics class where they're supposed to have a test or something. And Violet sucks at this class, like the only class she sucks at. And Rhiannon's quizzing her. And then all of a sudden, someone throws bags over their heads and they go unconscious. And that's the end of chapter 13. And I said, oh shit, her interrogation?
It's it's
And I
so
was
weird.
wrong.
It's like,
But
yeah. It's like great. It's like first,
what now?
right? It's like Varrish is psychotic, and now she's like the victim of it, and then now she's just like, I miss Xaden to Bodhi, and Bodhi's like, I know, I do too. And then she's trying to save Sloane, and Sloane's fucking up, and then she's trying to like, open up to Imogen, and Imogen's like, well, it
And she's like, I
doesn't
really
take. I
don't
don't
do
really
this
give a
like
shit.
girl talk thing.
Girl, I said I was recording.
And
I
then
was
it's
like, hey,
chapter
tell me how your
14.
day is. And then she's like, okay. And I was like, but text it because I'm recording tonight. She goes, okay. She's fucking FaceTiming me. Um, but yeah, like she's just poor girl is just getting the shit beat out of her. Um this okay, this chapter really confused me, and I think because mainly I started reading chapter 15 and I was like, huh, who the fuck is everyone? Um I only read like maybe the first 2 pages of chapter 15 before I realized like I'm on the wrong chapter. But there, and maybe I just completely forgot about this as well from like, the first book. I know there's other
Like
branches,
quadrants.
but for some reason I never thought infantry was one of them. I thought those
Yeah.
were the riders.
No, they have foot soldiers too.
I mean, I guess I apparently I'd rather be in the Air Force from the sounds of it. I'd rather get my own
I mean, that's
dragon.
kind of how it goes, right? Like the Air Force is considered a little more elite than just the regular Army, even though honestly that's kind of bullshit. Like they all go through similar training, but
They get like better perks, I guess.
yeah. And they think that they're better than everyone else. So I mean,
But then really when you think about it, it's like, well, yeah, but you get a cool dragon, so then like are you like would you be considered the Marines? Because the amount of
I don't know
shit
because
you
they
do.
fly.
Yeah, but the Marines get a lot of like bullshit.
I don't know.
They're weeding the weak out.
Maybe.
I don't know. But regardless of that, like I just for some reason just wasn't thinking about it. But they're in like a mixed group, so they have like medics, they have a scribe, they have riders, they have infantry, and they have to survive. And as soon as she was like, "Oh, I took a drink of this and it was floral and the aftertaste was gross and he needs to water or like keep his water skins cleaner." I was like, "Bitch, he just gave you something." And I was
Yeah,
like, "Oh
he
my god,
just
it's
dosed you. Like, what are you talking about?
yeah, I was like, oh my god, it's truth serum. Oh my god, it's truth serum." Like immediately I was thinking like, "Oh my god, they're going to interrogate you. Holy shit."
I
But
didn't think
he
about it like cutting her off from the dragons, but I immediately was like, oh, it's going to dampen your signet. You're not going to be able to use your signet. Like,
yeah, I I was yeah, so I was just like, "Holy shit, like this is not good. This is not good." Like she's not going to be able to use her powers. She's not going to be able to cut herself off. Like what happens if somebody like reads her mind? Like I was just going through all the like motions, and she's gonna come back, and everyone's gonna be fucking done, um, or dead, not done. But that's not the case here. That's basically just literally a class, and just having to go to the extraction point before they can get picked up.
yeah.
But
I
they
have
all
two
have to
things on
do.
these first couple of pages.
Oh, go ahead.
Um,
Sorry.
no, you're good. One is that they're not going to be done before the next day. And while Taryn is not involved in this, he is not wanting to leave Violet, but Sigale's coming home. Like, this is the weekend. And he's like, and leave you to fend for yourself. But in just like one of the last chapters, Taryn was like, I can't interfere because of the Empyrean. So, like, what are you going to do? Like, and she's going to be cut off from you anyway.
Yeah.
So, like, now, we didn't know that when he said that, but now we know that. And it's like, what are you going to do anyway, first of all? The second thing I had to say on page 135 is this character's name Maribel or Mirabelle? Because they switched the spelling of her name about 6 times. Or is it two different characters?
Hold on. Where? On what page?
135. At one point, they say breathe Maribel.
Mira.
And then a
Okay.
little farther down, it's Mirabelle, Mira. But further up, it's Mari.
Marybelle. What?
Right. Like I was like, is this two different
I think you're
characters?
talking
Is
about
that
that
like what is happening? But I think it's the same character and it's just like a
typo.
typo, but like it happens again later. So I don't know which one her name is supposed to be. But there we go. That was the second thing I had to say. And then I didn't write anything else till like the very end because this is like a lot to unpack.
Yeah,
They're
it is a lot.
basically given a map and they're like, find your way to the extraction point. They give them two maps. And the dumbasses don't look at the maps together.
It's a misspelling.
It is a misspelling. Is it
It's
Mirabelle?
yeah. It's Mira,
Yeah.
not Maribel. Mirabelle.
Yeah. That's what I figured, but um they give them two maps, but they don't ever say that the maps are the same. He says two maps, two teams, but one cohesive unit. You're not used to working together. You weren't even warned you would be, but keeping Navarre safe requires teamwork between the segments of our military. There are times in your careers where you'll need someone you can trust in the air or on the ground, and those bonds are forged here at Biscayeth. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon. So he never says that the maps are the same. He says two maps, but they just assume
And
that they're the same.
yeah. Well, and they both think they're right. So, but they never
Yeah.
stop to admit that maybe we're wrong. Let's look at your map. Let's look at my map. Like to think about it.
Let's compare.
And
Let's talk about it.
I think it's so funny because Riddick on 138 makes a comment about um about Calvin and
Yep.
gets close to Violet and goes um what is it? Their squad leader is the infantry equivalent of Ados, and I'm like, you are so fucking right. And
All
it's so
right.
funny because he's like, man, it's been 15 minutes since like they've heard their his ranking or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, that's something Ados would do. Um and it's just so funny because they're all like, well, who's this? Who's that? Oh
Yeah,
man.
it's a hot mess. But then so on page 141, they run into the first dragon.
Oh my god. I
Well, first they realize that there are two different maps. And they're like, fuck. Um, and then the first dragon shows up. They run into their first dragon.
wait. I didn't think they found out.
Page 141 at the top, Brisa realizes that they have two
Oh,
different maps.
okay. My bad, my bad, my bad. Anyways, yeah,
And then right under
Bade,
that, Bade,
Bade,
which
Bade
if you
Jack
don't remember,
was Jack
was Jack
Barlow's.
Barlow's.
And here's the thing: if Jack Barlow comes back, girl, I fucking riot.
I don't think he is. I think that he's dead because I think that's why she's so pissed, right? Like,
I think she was pissed regardless. I think she was a pissed off dragon. I mean, she's an
well,
orange
yeah. I
club.
mean,
Isn't that
she
what they
made
say?
it,
Yeah, she's an orange club, or no, a scorpion tail.
and oranges are the most unpredictable.
Yeah,
And then Violet's
and
like,
they
"This
fucking
is what we
lie.
should have been talking about instead of what the quadrant superior, which quadrant is superior." Because she's like, "They'll kill you if you run. Try not to show fear." Like, and then so this whole time, this is what I was going to say earlier. We have started talking about the second squad or second wing squad leader. I think it's second squad, fourth wing, second squad, because they're fourth squad,
Thomas.
right? Yeah, Thomas. Um, we started talking about him a lot all of a sudden. Like he came out of nowhere. We didn't really know him before, but we started
Last
to get to
chapter.
know him because of Ree.
Yeah,
Yeah,
last chapter, one of his people was facing off against Sloane,
Sloan.
and she
Yeah.
was like, "Hey, Thomas, get him off of her." Blah blah blah.
Yep.
And
And
we found out the person that she was fighting at that time, or like fighting against, was actually the little brother of the writer who ended up dying, like the one that was like pulled out by
oh
Martin.
yeah,
He
yeah,
requested a book that like got him killed.
yep. Um, and so Gwen on the one of the infantry cadets takes off running, and Thomas grabs her to stop her from running. So the because the riders all know what the dragon's gonna do. Um, and they're all like down, and yep, Thomas gets cooked. We all scramble to our
Unhinged.
feet and run toward nothing. Brisa is the first to reach the charred ground where Thomas had stood. And then Ree says, and that is why you don't fucking run.
Get him,
So
Ree.
yet
Get
another
him.
character that they were like, this character. And I'm like, wait, who the fuck is Thomas? And now he's dead. So I feel that Aya is next. I like Aya the best, so
Oh,
that's what I'm gonna call her. What's it supposed to be?
Aya.
Aya. That makes more sense. We'll call her that.
Aya.
Aya.
Frank.
So that's why I
Yeah.
feel like she's next. But I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Because otherwise this is getting predictable and that would be disappointing.
Yeah, and that's the problem. I'm just like, excuse me.
Yeah. Don't get predictable.
However, I do like that more non-marked ones are actually, I'm not saying like I'd like other people dying, but like I like that we're hearing more about other people, non-marked ones, being
Yeah.
victims
Yeah.
outside of like the typical,
Yeah.
oh, he
No,
did
I get what
this,
you're
he did
saying.
yeah, kind of
Yeah.
thing. But chapter 15. So
Chapter 15 was really short. I only wrote two things.
I wrote a couple and it was just like a snippet here and there. So there was a, like I said, I started reading this first. So at the when I first read this, my first comment on it was, "Oh, of course, she of course pissed off Varish's dragon because the very small excerpt says there's a course second year that I can't tell you about other than to say that it's hell. My only advice: don't piss off anyone else's dragon." And I was like, "Oh, of course she did this." But
I think it
now
was
having read,
referring to Bade.
yeah, it definitely was. I was like, "Oh, well, I take it back. She pissed off two dragons. Not that like Varish's dragon is there,
But
but I feel like
Varys' dragon is fucking insane already.
I
Like
feel like
unbalanced.
yeah, and I feel well, he is too. But I feel like they would use that as like an excuse, like, oh, there was a freak accident,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, but on page 146, they are they're settling in for the night again because they didn't make it. They're still out there. She goes to take first watch, so she lets Reddit go and get food, and she's gonna go eat afterwards. Well, Ree, being a fantastic squad leader, comes up and goes, "Nope, I need to make sure my squad's taken care of. You go eat. You do this. You do that kind of thing." So then she uses this opportunity because everybody else is gone to confront her, um, like, "Hey, something's going on with you. You've been stepping away. You haven't been talking to us. You've been eating by yourself. You've been reading in all your slow time or your off time. You like don't do this. You don't do that kind of thing. Um, if you're not ready to talk to tell me what's going on with you, I want you to know that that's all right." And then she's about to deny it, and then Ree goes, "Don't. I'll be here when you're ready because your friendship is precious to me, but please, for the sake of our friendship, don't insult me by lying." And it's like, you don't necessarily have to tell her what is exactly going on. You can tell her selective truths. Xaden, and I'll get more into that a little bit later when we like start talking about the chapter with Xaden, but like Xaden didn't tell you to lie to your, like, if you can't lie to them, give them selective truths.
Yeah.
you went through a lot of trauma and a lot of devastating things happened to you while you were away at war games. I think it's fair to say that you are not ready to talk about it and that you are very, very, very like you're trying to just deal with it right now, but also try to deal with everything else going around you. I think that's fair to tell
Yeah, and
her.
I think as a friend, yeah, I think as a good friend, Rihanna would be like, okay, but I'm here for you either way.
Yeah.
Like,
Like whenever you're
yeah,
ready, I got you. Like let me know. I think that's fine. I think that's fair to tell her to offer that to her. I don't think it's fair the
like shutting her
actions that
out.
she's taking. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I said that too. I was like,
specifically
yeah, I've been waiting for
shutting
this.
yeah, specifically shutting her out, like not necessarily like saying that like her friendship with Imogen and like the other marked ones is bad, but like specifically
No.
shutting her out when it's been her since day one.
Hmm.
Literally prior to Parapet, it's always been Ree. Like Ree's been there for her since. Has always watched her back, has helped her as much as she could when she needed it most.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
the fact that she is treating her like this and not offering up the selective truths and like offering up that suggestion really pisses me off.
I feel like after this point, though, she starts to try a little bit. She's a work in progress for sure, but she's trying.
I think she's trying to
Um,
decide between what's going to save everybody and what could condemn them. And I get it. That's like very, very difficult. Like, is the selective truth going to be the end all be all kind of thing? I get it, but still.
yeah, and then at the end of the chapter, because this chapter is really short, so the next thing I have is on page 148, but it's basically them talking about how they couldn't feel their dragons, and then Taryn is like, finally able to communicate with Violet again, and she's like, "Did you see Scale?" And he said, "I did for a couple of hours. That's all the time I was willing to be out of range from you, and only after Bade left." And she's like, "And they're already gone, right?" Then she's feeling sad, like, and that she missed Xaden. And he's like, "We will see them in a week." And she's like, "So why does every instinct I have scream we won't?" And I was like, "Because they're trying to keep you apart." Like, I felt like that was obvious. Like,
Yeah. I also there's what is there's a part on here too on like 147. Um oh, they're talking about how they were taking away like their everything, their bond, their feelings, their everything with their dragon and their signet. And they're like, this
yeah,
feels violating. I get it. It's a thing that could happen. Like somebody, whatever, could do that to them. But I wonder if it's Varish being a dick or if it's just Grady just upping the stakes, you know? Like, I don't, I know it's a possibility of things like this happening in the like war world out there, everything, but
yeah,
to that extent,
yeah. It seems a
I
little
feel
bit
like if
much.
you're going to lose your bond, your power, your everything, you're not going to be with some fucking infantry people, a scribe, this person that you're not going to
Right?
be
It's not
that
going to be
ground
that
lord.
controlled of a situation.
Yeah, like if you're going to do that, like you got to make it more chaotic than what you did, and you didn't.
Yeah, I would
But
agree. I feel like this is also the first one, so like we'll
I
see.
guess it depends on the second one too. But I
Yeah.
don't know. But yeah. Anyways, chapter 16.
Chapter 16. Yes, Justinia. That's the first thing I wrote.
Yeah. Justinia, I love her. She's a smart girl. She's great. I hope
She is. And
she
she is
doesn't
a true
fuck
friend
over.
so far.
I see, and that's what I'm saying. We say that bullshit now, and then
Yeah, I wonder if it comes down to it when when, and I say when because I feel like Jacinia is going to get caught. Um,
Okay.
I feel like it could go one of two ways based on this type of book. I've read a lot of books. We've established that based on the typical like tropes or way that these types of books go. Either Jacinia is going to die and Violet's
Mhm.
going. It's going to be all her fault, and she's going to feel horrible, and she's good. That's going to be like the death that makes her go nuts and kill everyone or something. Or Jacinia is going to get caught and throw Violet right under the bus.
Yeah, that I think it's going to be kind of like a mixture. I don't think she's going to necessarily die, but I don't think she's going to willingly give Violet up. I think she's going to do something like how Ados did, where it's going to be a little violation,
Mm,
where someone's going to reach into her, torture her, whatever which way, and get that information out of her, and then like basically torture her past the point of no return,
yeah,
and like not kill her, but like kill her,
right.
kill her soul essentially. Uh, but only because I I just feel like Justini is becoming more and more important. And she's just
Yeah,
like questioning things now, and she's supposed to be the next curator. I mean, it doesn't matter what you do. Like, us as a generation have questioned our parents, have questioned our grandparents, have questioned everything. So, like, we are like the Rearson rebellion time. Like, that's us. Like, we're the ones questioning, like, where did all this come from? Why is this a thing? Trying to reestablish whatever.
yeah,
And it's not been nice. It's not been kind. So
yeah. And so she's just Justinia is just super smart, and she's not only is she smart, but she knows Violet, so she knows that Violet is researching something and that it's not for class. And she said
and it's
basically the
for
reason
class.
that Violet isn't dead is because Justinia has not been recording her requests for books. She's just been giving them to her. Um, and she's like, "Can you tell me what you're looking for? I won't record your requests, not if you're thinking the same thing I am." And Violet says, "Which is?" And Justinia kind of takes a deep breath and goes, "That our archives are incomplete, either by ignorance or intention." So, like, yes, Justinia. Just fucking yes. And then on the next page, she's like, "We can do this on Saturdays, like when it's quiet. I'll give you a book, you bring it back, I'll give you another book. I just want one thing in return." And we don't find out right then what that one thing is. And I was like, "Okay, Jacinia, what do you want? Like, look at you being like making bargains and shit. What? Okay, girl. I see you, little scribe. Okay."
You little deaf scribe, I got you. But see, and
And then I
a lot of
commented again on how
what did
much we're hearing about Aya and
who's
Aoife.
Aoife?
Yeah. Is that not what
Did
I
you say
said?
Aoife?
Aoife.
Oh, I thought you said Aoife, and I was like Aoife, Aoife,
Well, I might have, but you knew who I meant.
Aoife. Um, yeah. Uh, I don't have anything until 158, to be honest.
um. So I said, "Oh, Violet the Scribe is here today," because now we're at the point where Sloane is fighting her first challenge. And Violet has basically set it up to where she can make this girl go like kind of weak or like disoriented for a minute so
Right.
Sloane can go ahead and win. Um, and then devious Violet, Slytherin Violet comes on out and she's like, um, "You're going to train with Imogen, and every week that you train and you win your challenge, I'll give you a letter from your dead brother. What? What?
The stack of papers she ripped out from under his bed.
Yeah, were letters to Sloane. And yep, holy shit. Then the next thing I have is on page 158. And it's about Imogen because she's like, um, you are. So this is after Violet has like basically
Gamed him
bribed
over.
Sloane. Yeah. And she's like, Imogen is like, you are, I see it now. I was like, what? Why Xaden fell for you? Truthfully, you're fucking clever. Way more clever than I gave you credit for. I bet you keep him constantly annoyed. How glorious. And I'm just like, I love it. I was literally laughing out loud when I read that part.
I was like,
Because I
yeah,
was
you
just
don't know
like,
how annoyed he
yes.
get.
And then on that
Ugh.
same page, we find out
Oh,
what Jacinia wanted. Jacinia wanted the fables that Violet asked for last year in the first book.
that makes me very nervous.
Me too. But
I get it. It's Jacinia. I get it. As of now, she's a true friend. Like, call me Xaden. I get it. But that makes me real fucking nervous.
I think the reason it makes me nervous is because, like, that's knowledge that she didn't have, and she's figuring out that things are being intentionally left out of the archives. She's going to wonder why some fables were left out of the archives. So I feel like she's going to put it together that they're true, and that's going to put her in danger. I don't know. Could be wrong, but I feel like
Yeah.
that's where we're headed.
Yeah. Um the they're also talking about on page 159, I guess there's been some attacks on some of the, eight from
Hmm.
war games because they um keep, moving around flight maneuvers. And
Yeah.
Varish is the one who's like escorting fucking Violet to Taryn to go be with Xaden this for the weekend. And he's like, I see you're not going to, flight maneuvers. What's going on with that? She's like, injuries. Many, many injuries. What say you, sir? Mainly because the majority of them are the ones that are actually getting like attacked by all of that, and I think Varish is the one behind it. I think he's the
Oh,
one most
yeah.
important, but
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Um, and he says something about don't think I haven't noted, or well, it was noted, as you'll soon see. I guess I'll meet your little golden next week.
no, you won't.
Um, but
She's fucking
she's
busy,
like,
bitch.
what the fuck does that mean? But when she gets there, she understands, because Xaden is on 24-hour duty in the operations center, which means that Violet will not get to see him. So Taryn and Sigale get to see each other because, like, I'd like to fucking see him try to keep them apart, but he can keep Violet and Xaden apart. So he does. Fucker.
Can you just imagine flying for like 12 hours
No, I
just to
don't want
be
to.
at like some place that you're by yourself with like nobody to talk to,
Yeah.
regardless of
And
like
not only
who
that, but
you're
it's
gonna
on like the
be?
front fucking lines. So you also have to worry that, like, what if the place gets attacked while you're there? Like,
Yeah. And then you're like, okay, 12 hours and I get to go home.
and you can't even bring your books because they search your fucking bag.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, chapter 17.
Chapter 17.
I have something on the next page.
So, on page 162,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Okay. So what is it? They're talking about Xaden and Violet and about how it's smart to keep them apart because they're both powerful together. And she's like, "You're a fucking menace together." Or Imogen's like, "You're a fucking menace together." I mean, it's weird that he's writing you letters. She goes, "Why? I think it's sweet." She goes, "Exactly. Does he strike you as the letters type of guy? And he's not even a talking kind of guy." And she's like, "Well, we're trying to work on our communication." And so like they start talking about that, and there was like a moment where she basically is talking about all of these things, and she's just like, "You didn't want normal. You did. If you did, you'd be in a relationship with Ados. Or hell, anyone else in this place, but you wanted Rierson. If you didn't think that man was hiding more than a few battle axes, then you're mad at the wrong person because you lied to yourself." And I'm like, Ados
Oh!
is fucking boring. You went with the
Yeah.
one that wasn't.
I was like, oh, I highlighted that exact that if you didn't think the man was hiding more than a few battle axes, then you're mad at the wrong person because you lied to yourself. I highlighted that and I was
Yeah,
like, oh,
because she's like, "Well, how do you feel if you're like, if you were dating somebody and a battle axe came flying out of an armoire and like almost killed you, and like wouldn't you want to know like how many more battle axes are hiding in that armoire before you like get back with him in that same place, same time?" And she's just like, "What? Does
shut
it
the fuck
matter?"
up, Violet. Right. Like, shut the fuck up. You're literally a writer. A guy tried to kill you the other day and killed another girl instead because she said she was you. And you're worried about what? Like, the Venom are out there, regardless of whether you're dating Xaden or not. I don't
Yeah.
understand.
And Imogen's like, "I really wish you would just start confiding in Rhiannon." Rhiannon. And
Oh my god.
she's like, "There's always a battle axe." She's like, "But that's normal."
And then
That's what she was
on
like,
the
"You
next
wanted
page,
normal." Like, what the fuck?
yeah, this continuing this conversation at the top of the next page, she's like, "You want actual meaningful advice?" And then she's going through all of this advice. She's like, "And you asked if I wanted to talk about your relationship, which implies that you damn well know you're still in one." And Violet goes to speak, and she says, "I'm still speaking." And I was like, "Yes, okay, Imogen." Like, she's like, "I'm not done. Shut the fuck up." And she's basically telling her to quit freezing out all of her friends because
It might
not
work
only
for
does she
him.
need them, but they need her as well. So,
And it might work for him, but it's not working for her. And that's what
and
makes
does it
me
work for him? Like,
No, it doesn't. And honestly, and you know what? I'm going to talk about this now. I was going to talk about this earlier. I was talking about this with Chloe earlier this morning. I was like, "Look, things are getting heated in Iron Flame, and honestly, I can't talk about it now because fuck, we haven't even talked about it." Xaden, I'm ready to hurt Xaden. He really pissed me off.
oh, yeah, okay.
I was about to like
Yeah.
unleash it, and I was like, "No, we can't." Like, we haven't even said anything about it. God damn it. Anyways,
uh, next page. I
Markham
wrote "fuck you, Markham."
is a piece of fucking work. I tell you, there is
Yeah.
some bullshit happening on the outskirts of the borders, and Rhiannon was one of them that got this paper from her family talking about like, don't bring in refugees. Okay, America. And
Huh.
uh he was just like, It's propaganda. It's fake news. It's not true. We don't need this. This is not right. This is fake. This is
Yep.
just to spread discontent among the outlier. Excuse me?
Shut the fuck up.
And
You're
then
a liar. And then he
Violet's like,
says
"Can I even like trust Devra if I can't trust him?"
on the next page, they're still talking about the same thing. And he says, I wrote it the quote down. He Markham says lies are powerful tools. And I'm like, speaking from experience there, sir.
Honestly.
There it's yeah. And then on
Because
the
he is.
next page, page
Oh my gosh, she
167,
just like loses her mind.
she sure fucking does. Like she's losing it and she's um goes and like has to release energy in the courtyard and like bring down lightning because she's all worked up. And then she walks into the fucking archives on a day and time when writers are not allowed to be there. And it only gets smoothed over because Jacinia is a quick thinker, um, and smooths it over. But Jasinia's like, have you at least told your squad mates whatever it is you're too scared to tell me? And she said, no, I can't let anyone else die because of me. I've already put you in too much danger. And Jacinia says, you gave me a choice. Don't you think they deserve the same? And I'm
Yes.
like, yes. Like,
And that right there solidified Jasinia's fate. I think she's gonna die.
yeah,
Jacinia even had the
yeah,
choice and she decided she was going to help, and that just means she's dying.
yeah. But also, like,
So
getting mad Harry Potter Gryffindor energy from Violet in this scene. And I'm like, fucking stop it.
let's bring back the Slytherin. I appreciated that
Yeah,
moment.
the Slytherin was better.
It worked for everybody.
Okay. Yeah, agreed. Chapter
All
18.
right.
The first thing I wrote was about the
Okay.
blurb.
Yes. I
The
didn't write
blurb.
about that, but
So the blurb says it was
it's
only when
very
we pushed the
long.
wards to their true limits. That's part of what I commented on. The actual blurb says it was only when we pushed the wards to their true limits, extending them far past what we first thought possible and to what I now question as sustainable, that we defined the borders of Navarre, regretfully knowing that not every citizen would benefit from their protection. Then it says, this is from The Journey of the First Six, a secondhand account by Sagar Olson, first curator, yada, yada, yada. So it's a secondhand account already. Then it's translated into the common language by Captain Madeline Calros, 12th curator, blah, 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 blah. Then it's translated and redacted for academic consumption by Colonel Phineas Cartland. Da, 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 da. So it's translated so many times. First of all, this shit's like the Bible. It's been translated so many goddamn times. It don't say the same shit no more. And then we redacted shit on top of that. So like this is useless. This book is useless. Useless. Anyway, that's the first thing I had to say.
Yeah. Uh all right. So basically I basically just said one whole thing about this entire chapter because this entire chapter really fucking pissed me off. It was literally just one, like, this whole chapter was just one huge fight
Yeah,
between Xaden and Violet. And you know what? I understand his point of view, but I also understand her point of view. And you know what? I am siding with him right now, or her right now, because
I would agree.
she, first off, is sitting there reading her books, doing all the things, and he shows up and she's like, "Oh, you're early." She kind of panics a little bit because she knows he'd worry. She knows he'll be upset if he finds out that she is researching and trying to do something for the revolution without telling him. And so she needs to return these books. But here's the thing, she had so many fucking books before and she was able to get all the books from her old room. He won't know the difference,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of classes. But Xaden being fucking brilliant learns that none of these are legitimately hers, nor are they her class books. So he finds out she is essentially researching things that she should not be researching, um, and gets pissed for keeping secrets from him. And that right there really pisses me off. He straight
Yes.
up is
It,
keeping secrets from her to keep her safe. And she is trying to help everybody be the Gryffindor energy that everyone so much fucking hates. To fucking save everybody. And
and she
she,
throws his own words back in his face
yeah.
on page
And
173.
like, and
And
that's
he
where I was
acts
like,
like
all
she fucking
right.
hit him.
Yeah. And it's
He
like, all
says, I
right.
haven't hidden shit from you. I've simply told you selective truths, which was exactly what Xaden said to her.
I was like, okay. And now we murder Xaden. Like, it's just it's really frustrating because he's sitting there telling her to do all of these things, lie to your friends. If you can't lie to your friends, don't do this. If you can't do this, don't do that. Do all of these things in the way that I do them for you to survive, for you to be involved, because now you have no choice. You're tied to me. You have to do this.
But then on the flip side of that, he's like, I'm pissed that you hid it from me, but I'm livid that you put your life at risk for me. That's not something I can handle. Then you should have picked someone else, motherfucker. Like, did you,
Yeah.
what? Did you not realize that this bitch is crazy? Like, hello? Like you picked wrong. Just like Imogen told her, if you didn't want somebody that has secrets, then you picked wrong. Well, if he didn't want somebody that was just gonna be like a pretty princess sitting in her tower, he picked wrong. He could have picked me. I would have been a pretty princess sitting up in the fucking tower. I would have done it.
I would have been the
But
archives. I would have been like, here I am, bitch.
yeah,
You ain't
I've
got to
just
worry
been
about
chilling,
me.
chilling,
I'll
eating
be
food,
reading.
reading my book. I'm good. But that's not who he picked. He picked Violet. So
It 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 really pisses me
then,
off because
okay, she does piss me off a little bit in this chapter too, though,
oh yeah,
but not in the same way. Um, on page 174, she says, or he says, oh no, they're speaking back and forth in their head. She says, you don't have to touch me for them to think you have a reason to be here. Everyone knows that and he goes, knows that we what? You've been pretty damn clear that we're not together. And she's like, wait, is that hurt in his voice? And I'm just like, you dumb motherfucker. Are you
she
serious?
already has established prior to this, and not even I don't know prior to us just like 5 minutes after showing up, you straight up looked at him and go, "I want you," and he goes, "Those aren't the words I want to hear."
Right. Like,
And
are you
you
fucking
go
kidding me, Violet? That's what I
right,
wrote. Are you fucking kidding me,
and then
Violet?
you go, "Oh, well, if you're not giving me full disclosure, then that's not happening." Okay, so you established right then and there that all of this was happening, was going on. So I don't
Shut the fuck up,
I don't
Violet.
know what you're trying to do, but you are fucking up, ma'am. But you know what? He's fucking up too because he is, whether he wants to admit it or not, is isolating her. He is telling her to do things the way he would do it.
Mm-hmm. And that's
And so
not
she's
working for her.
like, no. So she's like,
Not
okay,
working for him either, but
no. So she's like, okay, I won't talk to my friends. I won't do this. I won't do that. I will not prioritize my mental health for the better of everything because that's how he wants me to do it because that's going to save everybody. Okay. You're literally involved in a shitstorm. And unfortunately, you are also involved with the leader of it, who's also the son of the previous leader of it. I don't think you have a choice, man. So you either get used to the heartbreak that's going to come with the position that you are unwillingly and willingly involved in, or you grow a pair and
yeah,
build that heart of stone because it's not, either way, it's not, you're not going to get what you want either way.
no.
And it's just, it really pisses me off because she's like, well, I'll just isolate myself then. And it's like, okay, your true friend, Rhiannon, is literally trying her damnedest to be there for you no matter what, no matter how much you're hurting her. And you're just like, okay, bye. And then like running away to somebody else who was there for everything. It doesn't matter. Like, the
No.
way you're treating her is being stupid. And him,
Yeah. I literally wrote that on the last page. Like, I wrote, "Oh, Violet, you're an idiot. Maybe you wouldn't have done well as a scribe." Because, first of all, the fact that
you can't have
she
emotions
loaned
in your
Jasenia the
secret.
book,
Yeah.
that was really dumb. Like, that was a really big risk. Um, and then she's like, trust has to go both ways to mean anything. That should make my eye twitch, and I'm sure it made Zayden's twitch too. Because, hello,
Excuse
what?
me, what? You want full
Oh,
disclosure from him, but you did not specify like, hey, I haven't been able to say this to you, obviously, but this is what I'm doing. Full
and you're
disclosure.
expecting him to just trust you, but you don't trust him. Like, what, girl? You messy. You a messy
Yeah.
heifer.
It's just, it's really frustrating because it's like she's demanding this, he's demanding this, but then they're both not doing that. And I'm just
Messy.
like, I get it. You want to be petty because like he did this to you, and so now you're like trying to get back at him for it. I feel like you're trying to get back at him for it. So like, I understand that.
But also,
This
like,
mean girl.
messy.
Ooh. But anyways,
Yeah.
that's all we got for Iron Flame
Iron
Part
Flame
3.
Part 3.
So join us next time, next Wednesday, when we go over Iron Flame Part 4.
Bye.
I forgot to say it. Sorry. Till next time.
Bye.